Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of this Golden Beard Wisdom show. And in the first episode, we discussed the long-term debt cycles. In the second episode, we discussed how to fight a recession and how central banks can avoid massive depressions. And on this episode, we will discuss how can you protect yourself from inflation. And before I jump into the video, I just want to rephrase the disclaimer that I said in the first video. Then that is I am not your financial advisor. I will never tell you what to do with your own money. So I am just here trying to spread education, expand your education, financial literacy, and that's it. So this is the things that I will discuss in the video. I might be doing them. I might not be doing them. So it's just so that you can be like more open-minded to against and regarding this matter. So, how can you protect yourself from inflation? If you're feeling that in the next couple of years you'll experience severe inflation or hyperinflation, maybe it's a good idea for you to do a 30-year fixed rate loan, like mortgage loan. Imagine that you are in the US, and especially if you have like assets that can produce positive cash flows, that will be really beneficial. And I don't want to sound like I wanted to keep these videos really simple, but let me put it in a different way. So in order for me to not confuse you, imagine that the interest rate is 2% and the rate of inflation is 4%. That's basically, if you keep those 2% over the 30 years from like your loan that you did with your bank, and inflation is at 4%, that's basically a transfer of wealth from the lender to the borrower. In the other words, from the bank to you. Because interest means that you're paying more money than you borrowed it in the first place, or more purchasing power. But inflation, it means that you're paying less purchasing power. I think that you can understand that you're transferring purchasing power from the lender to the borrower, because money is devaluing it every year, because the inflation is always going up, but you're only paying those 2% that you fixed today or a few years ago. Number two, precious metals and Bitcoin. And precious metals like gold, silver, it's really a no-brainer. It's been here like from thousands of years. It's existed before the fiat currencies, and it's here to stay. It's a good way of storing your wealth and protecting yourself against the inflation. I can leave in the description a website where you can purchase gold and silver and a way of storing it in secure deposits, so that you don't have to store it in your house. Probably is not like the best idea, especially if you have like really high amounts, because you can always like be robbed, and it's useful to have like you pay a small fee and it's like in a safe and it's insured and stuff like that. But that's for gold. Silver and Bitcoin are a bit more speculative. Right now, silver is really cheap when compared to gold, which is like, I think the ratio, gold to silver ratio is like 100 or 100 something, which means that you need 100 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. So yeah, that might be a good, but I'm not your financial advisor. Then there's the Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin kind of behaves a bit like a digital gold, because there's a fixed supply of it. There can only exist 21 million Bitcoin, and a lot of keys have been lost, so there's probably even a lot less than 21 million. But then again, it's a bit speculative, but the cryptocurrencies exist. The fundamentals are specific for this type of recessions and the changing the monetary monetary system. And if you're like young, it might be a good way, because it has like the risk and the potential rewards. It's really like a good bet in terms of speculative. Then again, I'm not your financial advisor. You don't do whatever you want. It's just like if you're young, maybe it's a good idea to look into those type of things to prepare yourself for the future. If you're older, maybe you would prefer a more traditional approach, like buying gold, bullion, and stuff like that. Number 3, cash. And this might sound counterintuitive because you're fighting against inflation, so why are you holding money? Savers are losers because every moment you're losing purchasing power. Well, that's true, but you never know how things really will turn out, and there's like periods of deflation before the periods of hyperinflation and inflation. So it's always good to have a bit of reserves on the side because you will see a lot of opportunities, whether that's like ETFs, stocks, real estate. You can see like some good opportunities, and you'll need that physical cash. Physical cash, or it can be like in your bank account, to purchase those assets before the inflation kicks in. So the thing that I want to leave clear, for the long term, it's bad to have the cash. For the short term, it's always a good idea for you to have it, for you to seize those opportunities. Inflation hedges, like I said the ones before, for the long term, and cash to take advantage in the short term. And that leads to the fourth, which is like not really an asset or something, but the video is how to protect yourself from inflation, and that is don't rely on pensions and social securities. And I will explain you why. Because the way they calculate inflation in those checks that you will receive every month is in a measure that's less than the actual rate of inflation, and that over time compounded, it will leave you with a lot less purchasing power from your social security than you would initially think. And the pensions is the same thing. Like if you're going through a recession, your pensions are supported by tax receipts, and the first thing that drops is tax receipts. So yes, so always think with a different perspective. Just a final reminder, I am not your financial advisor. I'm just answering the question, how can you hedge against inflation? And that's the end of this episode. I think this one is a bit shorter than the others. So if you have any particular questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and if you want me to address different themes, just leave them in the comments or message me directly, and see you next time.